2022 Open Conference semifinals continues to fulfill its promise to serve us amazing volleyball action. Now, to help us break down how these athletes continue to slay, our volleyball analyst, Neil Flores, joins us live from San Juan. Neil, first of all, thank you very much for joining us. I know it's very, very hectic over there. Not chaotic because of all the fans. How are you doing?
Well, I was working a while ago, but now I'm just enjoying the game as a fan. Sobrang ingay dito sa arena. Sometimes we can't even hear ourselves when we do the commentary. But sobrang masaya. It's a different experience.
Actually, Neil, si Coach Willie has a few questions about the fans in particular.
Okay, Neil, Coach Willie here. I've been in a bubble situation. I've also played in front of thousands and thousands of fans. How are the fans affecting the players' performance, knowing that they've been in a bubble for the past, 2 years?
Well, when we started accepting fans in the quarterfinals, I think that the players experienced a little bit of nerves when they started off that round of competition. But as we eased in, tas ang dami na talagang fans, punong-puno na yung arena. I think the fans really helped the players also. Kasi additional motivation yan eh. When people are watching you, you always want to be at your best. And so far, sa mga games na napanood natin, hindi naman talaga nag-disappoint yung competing teams natin, especially here in the semifinals.
Alright, so ongoing ngayon yung Creamline versus Chocomucho matchup, and I know you can't watch it at the moment, so let's focus on what just happened. Let's start off first with Signal and Petrogas. Signal getting it in 3 straight sets, but even if you say na 3 straight sets yung pagkapanalo ng Signal, it really was a lot closer than that, wasn't it, Neil?
It was so close. My partner and I were talking, si Mix Gomez, sabi nga namin, it felt like a 5-setter kasi sobrang dikit yung mga scores. And if you look at the stat lines per skill category, it was very even, especially offense-wise. Tayo lang sila dun sa statistics na yun ng Signal and ng Petrogas. It just really boiled down dun sa composure na ipinakita ng Signal HD Spikers. Nung second and third set, it was a little bit identical dahil lumalamang yung Petrogas, but Signal's blocking came alive and they shut down all the attackers of Petrogas to seal that in a straight set win.
Well, you know, also, Coach Willie, I think you'd relate to this because the analyst actually picks the player of the game. If I'm not mistaken, Neil, you were the analyst there. So, who was your player of the game for those who didn't catch it and why?
The player of the game was Ria Meneses because naka-convert talaga siya dun sa lahat ng regalong ibinigay sa kanya, and she's always on point naman when it comes to blocking, and not just her, even in the form of Rosalind Doria, they were able to man the net for the Signal HD Spikers. It was an all-around performance really for Signal. Lahat nag-chip in, yun nga lang, nag-stand out talaga si Ria Meneses.
You mentioned a while ago that it felt like a 5-setter even though Signal won in all 3 sets. Any obvious adjustments you feel Petrogas needs to do to try and extend the series?
At the tail end of the second and the third set, they were in control. They had a 2-point, 3-point lead. Pero na-expose ng Signal HD Spikers yung liability nila in the reception area. And that will definitely be the focal point of concern when they go back to training bago pumasok sa ng semis game 2. Yung reception at the tail end, it was really what cost them that match. Malakas yung attackers nila. They had Aiza Maizo in the front line. They also have Gretchel Soltones. But all of these attackers on the floor will be at a disadvantage if hindi mo mabibigyan ng magandang pasa si Chisaet. And it really cost them that match against Signal, although they were poised to take set number 2 and set number 3.
Really exciting stuff there when it comes to Signal and Petrogas. We can't wait to see the next game, and syempre yung mga adjustments na yon, and of course to see which stars will shine. But that wasn't the only game played. Of course, Army beat Bali Pure, and it felt really good for Army, I'm sure. Pero, you know, we have a note here. We have a note here that Coach Willie is going to read out because one player in particular performed really well. And who is that, Coach Willie?
Oh, yeah, we really want to know about Honey Tabino. How was her performance, and actually what spurred it on?
Actually, Royce Tabino was her back in her old form in her year's game. Kasi when we had that preliminary round, it was a diesel-like start engine talaga for her. She would be committing a lot of unforced errors, attack faults, But kanina, I think the mindset na lang talaga when it comes to the people in the classification round is that it's always best to end your season with a win.
Yes.
And out of the three teams competing in that round robin, syempre, the Black Mamba Army Lady Troopers would want to still come out on top. And she delivered, and she got a lot of help pa from sila Michelle Morente and the rest of their team as well.
You know, really interesting to see how the rest of classification works out. Of course, a lot of fans are still watching right now. I wouldn't be surprised, Neil, actually, if all the volleyball fans are not watching us at the moment kasi Creamline and Choco Mucho are playing right now. For those who are wondering, as of recording or as the show is going on, Creamline now lead 1-0 over Choco Mucho. Again, it's still game number 1 and a lot can still happen. Let's see if that will change. Pero Neil, I know before you entered the prod room, what was your initial thoughts on how the game was going?
It was a convincing win for Creamline nung first set talaga. Gia de Guzman was a master class when it comes to setting. Talagang litong-lito yung blockers ng Choco Mucho, and with the trio of Gemma Galanza, Eliza Valdez, and Tots Carlos leading the charge, it wasn't surprising that they dominated the attacks department in that first set. Itong second set naman, when I left the gallery before I went in, Choco Mucho was actually leading, and I think right now they are poised to even things out at 1 set apiece. So we'll get to check. Pag manalo yung Choco Mucho, titingnan natin kung paano magpi-play out yung adjustments ng mga coach and the players come the third set.
Neil, maraming salamat. We're so sorry to take you away from all that action from the crowd and all the screams out there. We're jealous. We wish we were there. Coach Willie actually wanted to be there with family. So let's see whether or not that'll happen. Maraming salamat, Neil.
Thank you so much, Pao and Coach Willie.
Thank you, Neil.
Well, the heart of volleyball continues to pump excitement to the fans on Sunday. Cherry faces Army Black Mamba for the classification at 11 a.m. and the sibling rivalry continues at 3 p.m. as Creamline faces Choco Mucho for the second game of the semis and will paint the town red at the end as Signal goes up against Petrogas. After the break, we'll listen to courtside stories from Julia Vargas and Martina Lau about some players' second career options and their transitions to their current team. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game.
Welcome back to the game. Buckle up, UAAP fans, because tomorrow marks the first Ateneo-LaSalle matchup for season 84 of men's basketball. The battle of the undefeated teams will happen at 7 p.m. Before that, it's FEU versus NU at 10 a.m. UE will then face UP at 1 p.m. and UST will go up against Adamson at 4 p.m. As the excitement grows for the historic UAAP rivalry of Ateneo and LaSalle, our correspondents Julia Vargas and Martina Lau join us tonight to share some stories from the courtside. Welcome, ladies. Glad you could make it.
Thank you for having us here.
Can I just say, like, Julia's actually outnumbered here. There are 3 LaSallians here. Talking to her. So I don't know how that's gonna work out, but you know what? We're gonna start off with you here, Julia. Coach, we were talking a bit about their bubble, and she has a couple of notes.
Well, yeah, you know what? Again, I talked about how I've also been in a bubble setting actually twice, and keeping entertained is one of the highest priorities. We hear that you got the scoop on how these Ateneo players are keeping themselves entertained.
Well, actually, I only have one answer to that. The boys are major foodies.
Okay.
They love food. They told me that they always make pa-deliver daw.
Yeah.
And that, actually, Martina's cousin, Jacob Lau, cooks for them too sometimes.
Yeah, he cooks.
Like, what does he cook though?
Yeah, what does he cook?
He wasn't able to tell me. Parang it's on the...
It's on the down low.
It's on the down low.
Is it
But
okay.
I do know what they like ordering. They like ordering, like, you know, healthy stuff like milkshakes, fruit shakes.
Wait, milkshakes are not healthy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
When did milkshakes become healthy?
know.
Come on.
Is it vegan?
Compared to, let's say, burgers, because they also...
You have milkshakes and burgers together.
Yeah.
Okay, no, this is just because she's from Ateneo. But no, no, but we get that. But then, Martina, you have something about Michael Phillips, because again, moving to the Philippines is always going to be big. Coach Willie can relate to that.
Definitely,
100%. How about Michael Phillips and his move here?
Yeah, okay, so I actually got info from him because I'm doing this routine interview for all of the archers because I really want to get to know them. You know, it's so hard being in a bubble setup. Like, I don't really get to see them, talk to them, be around them. So I planned this like whole routine thing and I interviewed them like one by one. I just interviewed maybe like 5 so far, and Mike was in the first batch. So I asked him like challenges, biggest achievements, you know, 3 things to describe himself. And for the achievement and challenges, there's like a shared one, and it's the moving to the Philippines.
Yeah.
So he actually moved here when he was 17 in 2019, and he didn't really, it was his first time here. He didn't come with family, so he had like no one to go home to. He didn't know anything. He didn't know how to speak Tagalog, anything like that. So he said it was a tough transition for him.
Yeah.
He didn't know anyone here. And
similar to your story.
Yeah, no, I can totally relate. 4 days after my high school graduation, moved to the Philippines. Luckily, I was with my father.
Yeah.
So, but knowing the language, I start from
That's
scratch.
always going to be tough.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No. So, but then he told me that during his stay here, like the first year, because Ben followed the year after, so like that 1 year he was just alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just said, you know, in the bubble setup, like he had to like force himself to adjust. And
I get you.
He did say that he liked, you know, throwing himself into the culture. He really likes the food.
Yeah.
But he did tell me that he didn't really get the chance to go out and party. Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
well,
I mean, like, you know, when you're an athlete.
Because you're an athlete, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, when you're an athlete.
I'm pretty sure his parents are happy about that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Sorry. Let's not throw him under the bus for the meantime.
Yeah.
But let's move on to Ateneo first again. Obviously, you had a chance to talk to and get to know some of these guys as well. David Defonso in particular and Tyler Teo, who actually used to co-host here, used to sit in that chair. And when you mentioned these guys have also other career options, just in case they don't work out as bowlers.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think that they will, talent level wise, but then it's great to hear that they have other options and you know what they are.
So, well, Tyler, he told me that, of course, he still wants to stick to basketball.
Yeah.
But more of the esports side.
He wants to be an esports guy.
Because he really loves playing NBA 2K.
Who doesn't?
Okay.
And actually, they always hold like 2K tournaments with the guys, which is really funny. And
Does he win?
Well, I guess so. Yeah,
Because he's hosting it, right? So you better. All right.
Of course.
And
then
Dave.
For Dave naman, he told me 2 career options. First was he wants to be a nutritionist,
Okay.
which is I think that makes sense because he's an athlete and
Yeah, no,
stays-
and honestly, his body, physically, it shows that he's all about that life.
Well, he's a spitting image of his dad.
Yeah. Okay.
That's true.
Oh, yeah,
That's
and
true.
sorry,
Then
and his other option?
His other option, I actually got shocked. He told me he wanted to be a pilot.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He told me that one of his goals in life is to actually fly a plane.
Okay, wow.
So yeah, that was really interesting.
I mean, just flying. Of course, you again looking at his how his profile and how he looks, and the spitting image of his dad, as you mentioned, and he wants to be a nutritionist just in case. You know what? I'd call him. I'd hire him. I need it. But yeah. But you actually right now we'll move back to Martina, who's talking about one of the players in LaSalle who's really been shining lately.
One of our favorite players,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
Actually, in my opinion, the fastest player in the UAAP.
Oh, okay.
Mark Nonoy. His transfer from USC, which actually was a surprise to
A lot of people.
a lot of people. You know, winning Rookie of the Year and just really just blowing up the spot when he just joined.
Okay.
How has his transition been?
Yeah, so I actually asked him about that and he said, well, dream ko naman kasi talaga maging player para sa DLSU. Yeah, so
Wow.
like ever since high school, actually like would you believe it when I say he didn't think like he'd make it this far. He never really had the plan
Yeah.
of like playing in Manila and all of that. But he did say like he was very grateful for the opportunity like UST gave him because like they were the ones who brought him to Manila to play ball. But yeah, when the opportunity presented itself, like you know when he was offered to play in LaSalle, like he grabbed it. Yeah, he grabbed
Yeah,
it.
it's an honor.
For sure. And I actually asked him like coming from UST, you bagged the title of Rookie of the Year in
right.
season 82, and I was like, I actually just asked him yesterday. I said, so Mark, ano naman yung mga goals mo para sa sarili mo kasi archer ka na ngayon, ibang school na. And he was like, actually gusto ko talaga mag-champion this year kasi
So,
yeah.
let's see.
Let's see.
Wait lang. Yeah, you're right.
We
No
got
fighting,
logo
no fighting.
Nonoy over here. We got logo Nonoy.
So I agree.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But right now, syempre, now we have to. That's a beautiful segue, by the way, to Ateneo LaSalle. That's happening, of course, tomorrow. And since we're running out of time, and what we wanted to do was have the both of you ask Coach Willie about that in particular. But since we've been piling on Ateneo the whole day, we're gonna have you ask Coach Willie.
Okay.
And you'll be the only one with the question, so feel free to have at it.
Anything you want.
Anything you want, all right?
Wow.
All right, Julia, let's go.
So we know that both teams are on a 3-point winning streak. So obviously tomorrow night, someone's gonna come home with a loss.
Yes.
So I was wondering, from both teams, who do you think will be the biggest contributors to the game?
Okay, well, based on past performance, let's start with Ateneo, all right, because we always go with the team that has been historically less successful first.
yeah.
All right, I'd have to go with Ange Kwame.
Ange
He was
Kwame.
player of the game, their last game. He's gonna anchor the defense of Ateneo, so I'll go with him. He'll be the biggest contributor. With regards to LaSalle, all right, there's a number of players that made huge contributions last game. Mark Nonoy, Michael Phillips, 16 rebounds. My
Yeah.
goodness,
Yeah, that's crazy.
eight on the offensive glass.
Yeah.
But I'm still gonna have to go with Balti.
Balti.
LaSalle goes as far as Balti brings them. If he's playing his game, the sky's the limit.
All right, so we'll give you one more here. I think we have time for that. So if you have any second one here for Coach Willie, go
Well,
ahead.
I think Martina's question also a while ago, she was wondering, what do you think would be each team's best attack?
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
Already.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my
No,
question
that's
already.
a great question.
Yeah.
Now, with Manong Derek Kumaran, LaSalle has the famous press.
Yeah.
Okay. So expect them to press Ateneo, okay, from start to finish. On Ateneo's end, it's all about precision.
Yes.
When I talk about precision, it's not just on the offensive end and the way that they run their offense, to a T, but also defensively. They don't expect them to game plan for Balti or any of the LaSalle players. Just expect them to defend with their principles, be extremely disciplined, individually and in a team aspect. and try to win that way.
And never panic, really.
Never
They never
panic,
panic.
never panic.
It's going to be an entertaining matchup. I can't wait to see Ateneo Lasal again. It's insane.
We're
Ladies and
so
gentlemen,
nervous.
thank you very much to Martina Lau and to Julia Vargas for joining us here tonight. You can see them in the games tomorrow, so make sure you catch it in the Varsity channel and on Signal Play on One Sports. Now, when you return, we'll give the latest on the PBA Governor's Cup semis as well as potential matchups in the finals. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Game 5 of the PBA Governor's Cup semis is currently ongoing between Meralco and Magnolia at the moment at the 3:42 mark of the third quarter. 1-point lead for the Meralco Bulls, 59-58. It has been up and down, a tight battle that we all expect at the moment, really. Aaron Black leading the way for Meralco with 16 points. And of course, you will have Calvin Abueva with 15 for Magnolia. Now, as Barangay Ginebra await their opponents in the finals, PBA champ and my partner for tonight, Coach Willie Wilson, will help break down some potential matchups to look forward to. Coach, battle's not done yet, and we were talking a bit before the show about how interesting you find the coaching matchups in particular, whether it be Coach Tim Cone against Coach Norman Black or Coach Tim Cone against, of course, Coach Chito Victolero. Why did you highlight those matchups in particular?
Well, obviously, you know, it starts with the coach. So if we're talking about Ginebra and any of Coach Tim's previous stops, the highlight of those teams has always been Coach Tim Cone.
Yeah.
And his famous triangle offense, which we don't see too often now with this iteration of Ginebra.
You look at the Justin Brownlee matchups against either Tony Bishop or Mike Harris. It's always going to be a big question mark. I personally see Tony Bishop playing a bit like Justin Brownlee, Mike Harris more physical. But then when you look at these matchups, how do you think Justin Brownlee will fare against either of them?
All right, we're talking about Justin Brownlee. He's a vet. He's been with this team, so the gelling has already been done. What I love about how he fits into this Ginebra team is that they can move him to the 4, they can move him back to the 3.
Yeah.
And that positional versatility where if Ginebra wants to go big, put Justin at the 3.
Yeah.
You know, if Ginebra wants to go small,
You put him at the 4.
put him at the 4.
Yeah.
That's so difficult to game plan for. Where do you find your defensive matchup? And then that's going to cause problems for you, the team playing against them offensively.
Of course, that's Tony Bishop and Mike Harris's problem, should they make it. and of course matching that production. Again, he's coming up 47-point game.
Definitely.
Yeah, so the health is also going to be an interesting problem for all the teams right now. Chris Banquero for Meralco not playing at 100%. Paul Lee for Magnolia not playing at 100%. On the other hand, Barangay Ginebra still without Stanley Pringle. Japet Aguilar not completely healthy. Do you think that health will be one of the key factors going into a final series against either of these teams?
Definitely. You look at all three teams, they have casualties, okay? We look at Magnolia. Paul Lee is not 100%, okay? We go to Ginebra, you just named it. No Stanley. Japeth, question mark. Is he healthy? We don't know. We can speculate all we want. And then we go to the Magnolia side, which is probably out of all three teams the healthiest team.
Yeah.
But their lead guard, Chris Banquero, also injured. I think, they have guys coming off the bench, but I think the team that would be, would be most affected would be Meralco.
Yeah.
Because again, that's their starting guard. Their prize acquisition, fielding in guys behind him to replace that production, very difficult to do.
Yeah. So if you're Coach Tim Cone right now and there's a Barangay Ginebra, do you prefer one over the other?
Hey, that's a dangerous rope to toe. You don't want to favor one or the other. But what is good for Ginebra is that both teams very similar. They're both defensive-minded teams. Both coaches, defensive-minded coaches. The only difference would be in the imports.
Coach, you did a great job today as a host and right now at your comfort zone as an analyst. I really appreciate you coming over. So let us lead off the show with a few goodbyes here. Coach, take it away.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Willie Wilson.
I'm Paulo Del Rosario, and this has been The Game.